my name is Lizzie Arman, and I'm going to be talking to you about Chapter 3, Cognition and Interpersonal Communication. So to start with, if we were still in the classroom right now, I'm sure that you would have expectations of where I'd be standing in the classroom, based upon how everyone else's briefs have gone so far. You would expect me to be standing in the front and giving my brief from there. So it would probably violate your expectations if I came and sat on your desk for the remainder of my brief. And I'm sure it would also violate your personal space. Well, this is an example of an expectancy violation. Today I'm going to talk to you about expectancy violation theory, the theory of cognitive dissonance, and how to use cognitive dissonance to persuade others. So to start with, expectancy violation theory. It's comprised of three major factors: expectancy, violation valence, and communicator valence. Expectancy is what you're expecting out of the communication encounter, and it's comprised of three factors. So what you expect is going to be based on the context of the communication, whether it's formal or informal, the communicator relationship, so how much of a relationship you have with this person, and then the communicator characteristics, so the other person's age, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. And then the second thing, violation valence, is the evaluation that you give a personal space violation. So if someone's violating your space, you can either give it a negative evaluation if you're uncomfortable with it, or a positive evaluation if you are comfortable with it. So for example, your boyfriend grabs your hand. You might be more comfortable with that than someone random grabbing your hand. So third, there's communicator valence. And communicator valence refers to the evaluation you give the person in question. So if you want to have a relationship with this person, you know that it was maybe just a mistake that they violated you, then you might give them a positive violation. But if you don't like the person and they violated you, you probably give them a negative violation. So you can see this with Scarlett Johansson and John Travolta. He was violating her personal space, and based on her nonverbals, you can see that she's probably giving a negative violation valence. However, because she might see, he's a friend of mine, there's a lot of upside potential with keeping an interpersonal relationship with him, she may give him a positive communicator valence valuation. And because of this, her reaction is overcompensating for it. So she's just staying there very still because she doesn't want to make it more of an issue than the press is probably already going to make of it. So next I'm going to talk to you about the theory of cognitive dissonance. The theory of cognitive dissonance explains persuasion as a cognitive response to inconsistencies between beliefs and behaviors. There's three types of relationships between beliefs and behaviors. There's irrelevance, consonance, and dissonance. Irrelevance refers to when you have two beliefs that are completely different. So, for example, my opinion on gun control and then my opinion on the environment. So they have nothing to do with one another, and I would probably never have cognitive dissonance regarding those two in the same context. Second, there's consonance. Consonance refers to when my beliefs and my behaviors are in fact consistent. So I want to keep the environment green, I want to save the environment, I would probably recycle. And then my belief and my behavior would be parallel, they'd be in line, and I would be in a consonant state. Then finally, there's dissonance, however. And dissonance is when your beliefs and your behaviors aren't adding up. They're inconsistent based upon someone else giving you new information. So say I'm wanting to save the environment, however, someone tells me that my car is a fuel-burning car. I'm going to be in a state of dissonance. I'm going to want to figure out how to do something about this state because it's very uncomfortable. And then I have three options. I can either change my belief, I can change my behavior, or I can change my perception of the behavior. So if I had to change my behavior, I'd have to completely get rid of my car. I'd maybe have to ride my bike, use public transportation, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep my car, or a car. Or I could change my belief, which would mean giving up on the environment. And I don't want to give up on the environment. I want to continue helping and doing as much as I can. So as a persuader, this is where you would step in. And you would find an easy alternative to bridge this gap between beliefs and behaviors. So, for example, you might, instead of having me drive a Hummer around, you might introduce me to a Prius. Because that way, I'm still able to save the environment, but I don't have to completely change my behavior. I can just kind of change my perception of the behavior. And so as a persuader, some of your most successful persuasion can come from changing people's behaviors while they're in this state of dissonance. So what I'd highly recommend is when someone's in this state, make sure you find a solution that's easy enough for them to accomplish, and it also bridges these beliefs and behaviors in a very, very suitable way and is tailored to exactly their situation. So, does anybody have any questions for me?